Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to beautiful Fraser Field, here where the Lynn Classical Rams will be playing against the Somerville. I believe Somerville is the Knights. My name is Frank Keary. I'm trying to fill in for the legendary John Hoffman here at, again, as I repeat, Fraser Field, Lynn. We missed that first batter, but that was Sam Tadonis who flew out, and we now have one out here in the top of the first inning. Classical coming into today's game with a 5-2 record, having just recently lost a tough game to Salem with an 11-10 score. On the mound for the Lynn Classical Rams is Kyle Finnegan. Kyle is today's starting pitcher, and he chooses to go with a more standard, no wind-up, short toss approach to the plate. There's a ground ball single up the middle by Dylan Crackett. And I'm not sure of his last name. We had a little discussion up here in the press box as to what, we don't know if it's a Z-R-A-K-E-T, a T-R-A, or a C-R-A, but we know it's Dylan, and he's the first baseman, and he gets a single to center field. Now, batting in the number 3 spot, you got Lucas Sargent, who's the starting pitcher for the Somerville. That first pitch was high, a little bit out of the zone. Ball 1 is the count. And again, as I repeat, we have one out here in the top of the first inning. There's a line drive hit to right center field, runner on first base, advancing all the way around to third base. And so we have another hit off of Kyle Finnegan. So we got runners now on first and second. First and third. We have one out. And the batter for Somerville is Josh Santos, who's playing shortstop for Somerville. Josh Santos. Kyle looks in for his signal. First pitch, right down the middle, fastball strike. And again, whenever you see, in high school anyways, a first and third situation, you can almost expect that they're going to try to run a delayed steal. And in Kyle Finnegan's way of preventing that is to kind of change up his rhythm a little bit on the mound, excuse me, and try to keep the runner a little close at first. There's a high chopper to the mound. He looks him back. He looked him back at third base, and because of the time constraint, he ended up losing that out at first base. So we now have bases loaded. So we got to score that a single by Josh. Now batting, playing left field, Manny Diaz. Get a bases loaded situation and one out in the top of the first inning. There's a pickoff attempt. Nice play. Nice move by Kyle Finnegan. And there's a pickoff, and we got runners moving up to run second and third. It was a well-executed pickoff. And what we try to do as coaches, we try to tell our guys at third base that you have to respect that right-hander's move. And they have an exact same move as a lefty to first base. He hung his leg up, which he didn't commit to home plate. He hung the leg up nice and high and then looked to the plate and threw to third, and he got himself a pickoff, which got him out of the inning. Which got him an out in the inning. And again, as I mentioned, runners are second and third now with a 2-out situation. We get 2 strikes on the hitter. The hitter, again, Manny Diaz. Manny's the left fielder for Somerville. Excellent job of blocking by Nico Galizzi at home plate. That was a breaking ball to come up real short, maybe about 58 feet. He jumped out, blocked it square with his chest, kept it in front, and it obviously prevented the runners from advancing. Nice big hop to the second baseman, force out, and that gets them out of the inning. That was, a nice play out there by Jake McDonald at second, and we get the force, and the Rams come in, and they're going to take the opportunity to do some hitting. And they also, I think in the very last game they played against Salem, if I read correctly in the paper, there was Anderson, Buckland, and Torres each got 2 hits apiece, along with three of the 2 hits, along with 2 or 3 other players. So just about every player in the Classical lineup got a base hit, but unfortunately, they end up losing the game 11-10 to Salem. Okay, here we are again at Fraser Field. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Somerville scoring no runs in their first at bat, yet they got 3 hits in the inning, but did not score a run, thanks to the fine pickoff move by Kyle Finnegan. In that first pitch from Lucas Sargent, a fastball strike, and batting for the Classical Rams, Nico Galizzi, who's the catcher in today's ball game. There's a breaking ball high and out of the zone. We now have a 1-1 count. Nico's looking down for a signal from third base Coach Mike Zukowski. That's up out of the zone. It's a ball 2. Working behind the plate, a veteran official, Mike Sullivan, home plate umpire. I believe Mike was formerly a Lynn English graduate many years ago. And working out on the bases is the Northeast Conference Commissioner of Umpires, as well as Cape Ann League Commissioner. That's Jimmy McKeever. And I believe Jimmy's a Lynn resident, although he's formerly of Saugus. And so now we got a 3-2 count on Nico. And obviously this is a good pitch to hit. Pitcher's got one option to come generally in high school is to just throw the fastball right down the middle. You know you're going to be in trouble when you got a pitcher out there on a 3-2 count. Throws that breaking ball. You know that you got a good pitcher on the mound. Fastball down low. Nico takes a walk and actually does his job as a leadoff guy. He gets on base any way he can. And traditional baseball says that when you get that leadoff guy on base, and especially the leadoff hitter who's known to have a little bit of speed, generally speaking, it results in a run or some sort of scoring for the team that inning. So let's hope that statistic holds true here. Now batting for the Lynn Classical Rams, Brett Buckland, who's the center fielder today. Nico takes off, no chance at all, even though it's a nice throw. He got a great jump down there, and he's now safely at second base. And again, we got a strike on Brett. Looking down to third base, Coach Zukowski flashing a few signals. Got a ball low, fastball. We got a 1-1 count. I don't want to second guess, but traditionally in high school, a 1-1 count results in a breaking ball pitch. I think hitters should look for that. And that was, whoa. That was a nice pickup by the Somerville catcher, Jaron O'Brien. Backhanded the ball into the turf, and then attempted to throw Nico out at second base. So that was a ball. That count is now 2-1 for Somerville. He's balking. It looked like he balked, but a little bit of a shoulder move then. But Coach Sikowski was fine with it, so we're not going to make a big deal about it up here, that's for sure. Here's a well-hit ball. Nice play by the third baseman. Throws over to first. No, they missed him. He's safe at first. The throw took him off the bag. First baseman made an attempt to, after he took the throw from Josh Frost, he made an attempt to tag him and then missed and then tried to tag the bag, but it was too late. So we now have runners on first and second. Now batting Deshaun Anderson. That ball got by the catcher on that one. We're going to have to score that one, I guess, a wild pitch. That's a high fastball, a little bit out of the zone. Deshaun took a real good swing at that pitch, and now we got a 1-1 count. We got runners on second and third for the Glasgow Rams. Pitch down low, fastball on the knees, or below the knees, and that's a 2-1 count now with no outs here in the bottom half of the first inning. Another nice pick out of the turf by the catcher, Jaron O'Brien, again preventing a run from scoring. Now that pitch, that's a 3-1 pitch. Oh boy, that's trouble. Yep, pitcher calls for the ball. He ended up taking it, and it's rightfully so. That's a very difficult play for the catcher going away from home plate, because the spin on the ball will cause the ball to go away from the catcher. So you always want your pitcher to take that ball. And by the way, that was ball 4. When you get a 3-1 count, you got to look for a pitch that's a real good pitch. And that was just a little bit, I would say, out of the zone, up a little bit high. It's tough to do anything with that pitch. And again, I got to credit Jaron O'Brien behind the dish. He made another terrific block on a ball in the turf. And that would have been the second run scorer in this inning on 2 good blocks that he's made. We got a 2-0 count now to number 4 hitter, first baseman Aiden Dow, who's also the number 1 pitcher for the Glasgow Rams. Aiden hits the ball well. That ball's going to split the gap, and looks like it's going to go, and that ball was well hit. Went out to the warning track. 2 runs have scored. Aiden's legging it over to third base. And here comes the throw, just a little bit late. So that's a nice triple by Aiden to right center field. He's got 2 RBIs on that. Now batting, playing left field, Brandon Lannon. We got 2 outs. We got Aiden Dow on third base after that long warning track triple that he hit, knocking in the 2 Glasgow runners. You know, and I've just made a quick check on the scoreboard, and it, to my mistake, but we have 1 out, and that was the pop-up by Deshaun. There's another well-hit ball. It drops in. And Brandon gets himself a single. He gets himself an RBI. And we now have a 3-0 score. Batting in the 6th slot, playing shortstop, Jared DeFilippo. There's a high pitch out of the zone. Ball one. A little bit of a delay in the game. Coach Dunphy comes out from the Somerville team, has a little discussion with the home plate umpire, Mike Sullivan. I'm not quite sure exactly what the discussion is or the concern. And coach goes back to the dugout, apparently satisfied with the explanation. And again, the first pitch down in the turf, and Brendan Lannon read that well. He saw the ball down into the turf, and whenever coaches tell their guys when the ball is down into the turf, you can pretty much expect a catcher to block it, and that's a good opportunity to advance. So he read that perfectly. We got a 3-0 count now on Jared, who's the shortstop for the Classical Rams, and that's a call strike. So we got a 3-1 count, and again, I repeat, 3-1 is a great count to hit from. And there's a swing and a miss, swung through that one, 3-2 with one out. Breaking ball, a little bit over his head. So we got a walk on with Jared, which gives us runners on first and second with one out. Here in the bottom of the first, with the Classical Rams leading 3-0. Now batting Danielle Ortiz, second baseman for the Classical. Coach Zook giving the signals down there at third base. There's a little bit of a chopper, call foul right away by Jimmy McKeever, the base ump. And, that's one of those calls that always queries us. Those choppers that die in front of the plate, which is obviously fair. And umpires just call them foul automatically to prevent any type of indecision on the batter or even on the home plate umpire. So, despite the rule book saying that's a fair ball, it's always called foul. And I told Jim McKeever and Mike Sullivan, the two umps today, that I was going to do my best to criticize them today's game. No, I was just kidding. Both of them very good umpires. Both of them have done many state tournament games as well as state finals. And two very good umpires here. Here we go. We got a 2-2 count, I believe. 2-2 count on the designated hitter. The second baseman, Danielle Ortiz, who flies out deep to center field. And that makes it 2 outs. And we now have a designated hitter, Ronald Torres, batting in the place of Kyle Finnegan, number 13, the DH, Ronald Torres. The breaking ball up a little high. And again, nice play. Almost got him. That was Jaron O'Brien again, dropped the ball. Base runner took a little liberties down there, and he threw a nice strike. Almost got him. Almost picked him off. High pitch, high strike. So with Ronald Torres as the DH, we now have a 1-1 count. There's that a little bit higher that time, a 2-1 count. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. And it looks like all the track. There's a well-hit ball into straightaway center field. There's 1 run coming around. Good throw. Oh, they got 2 runners hung up at second base. Now the second baseman went for the tag, held on for the ball a little too long. They could have gotten their runner at third base. So we got We got 2 down. We now have 4 runs on the board. Classical has a runner on second base. And that would be Ronald Torres, second and third, who got himself a nice line drive single up the middle and then caused a little confusion on the bases. But Classical managed to get out of it. There's a breaking ball and a little bit of a wild swing by Kyle Durant that got him in the hole now, 0-2. You would think maybe that there'd be another breaking ball coming after that, and sure enough there was. And a nice line drive hit by Kyle and a great catch by the starting pitcher, Lucas Sargent, to end the inning. So Classical, at the end of the first inning, has 4 runs, 3 hits. They got 2 walks, and as predicted, that leadoff hitter Nico Galizzi started the game off with a walk, and he ultimately ended up scoring. And they did not have any batters strike out that inning. So we have a 4-0 lead at the end of 1. Thank you. Okay, here we are in the top of the second inning at Frazier Field, and it's just starting. Luckily, we have our lights on, and it's starting to get at that point where it gets a little tough to see the ball. Nice play by Deshaun Anderson at third base. He throws over to first, and getting by a few steps, getting second baseman Jake McDonald out. So we have 1 out. First pitch from Kyle Finnegan to Josh Frost, the third baseman. Call first strike, excuse me. That's another one. He's getting ahead on the hitter now, 0-2 with 1 out. On 2 count now. Kyle sets up, delivers. Another fastball out off the plate a little bit, which is what you want when you get a hitter in an 0-2 count. You don't want to give him anything really, really good. So that's a good strategy by Kyle. Breaking ball now, which is, again, that's a good sequence in my opinion. You go with a fastball 0-2 out of the zone, then come back with a breaking ball. That's a sound. I don't know if Coach is calling the pitches or if Nico is calling the pitches. There's a swing and a miss. So that's Kyle's first strikeout of the game. We got 2 outs here now with Classical Rams scoring 4 runs in the bottom of the first inning. watching Kyle Finnegan pitch, he's very efficient, doesn't have too much wasted motion, got pretty good mechanics, and he's got decent velocity on his fastball. He's got, well, I know what the term that scouts like to use is good arm action, but he's kind of impressive. That's ball 2. Batter up now is a catcher, Jaron O'Brien, who's done a very good job behind the dish so far, saving Somerville from getting some real easy runs. Hits one right down the line. I believe that's a fair ball, and it is. That's a single right down the line. Couldn't have got any fair. It couldn't have. Let me see if I can word this right. That ball didn't have much margin before it went foul. That's a better way to explain it. So he's on first base, and again with down 4 runs, the likelihood of a steal doesn't seem imminent. Batting for Somerville now is Patrick Barton, who's a right fielder, and he's got a swing on that one and a miss. So Kyle is up right away, 0-1 on the count. Swing and a miss, 0-2. And again, he's got 0-2 here. Let's see if he throws that fastball a little bit out of the zone, which will make hopefully the hitter to chase. Ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I wonder if he's going to come back now with that curveball, because that seems to have been his sequence, and I really like that. A fastball away, ball gets by Nico. Yeah, we got to call that a pass ball. Pitcher's a little bit off the plate, but strike 3, a swing and a miss. So in that inning, Somerville got no runs. They got 1 hit, no base on balls, and Kyle, to his credit, got 2 strikeouts. So we're going to be going into the bottom of the 2nd inning, and we're going to take a little break. Okay, here we are back at the beautiful Fraser Field, and we're at the bottom of the 2nd inning, and leading off after batting around in the very first inning is Nico Galizzi, who started the first inning rally off by getting himself a walk, and then proceeded to steal second base, moved up to third on a wild pitch, and ultimately ended up scoring a run. So let's see if he can start it off again for the Glasgow Rams. That's a 1-1 count. Last pitch being a breaking ball that was high and out of the zone. Another breaking ball, and Nico lifts it up high in the air to the center fielder who's camped under it, and he puts it away. Now batting center fielder, Brett Buckland, and Brett reached on an error in the first inning. First pitch by Lucas Sargent was called strike. And we got 0-1 with a 1-out situation. It's a breaking ball off the plate. And Jaron O'Brien just blocks it, picks it up, throws it back to Lucas on the mound. It's another breaking ball, and he seems to be high with his breaking pitches today. And I mean, if you're going to miss with that, you want to miss low and force your hitters to chase it a little bit. You don't see them chasing curveballs up high out of the zone. That's a pitch way out of the high. It's way high. Now we're into a 3-1 count. Again, with one out in the bottom of the second. Breaking ball. That one was, again, on a 3-1 count, you want to wait for a really, really good strike. That was a marginal strike, and I don't blame him for not swinging at that. Another breaking ball. Ball 4, and that's a walk for Brett. And again, I would anticipate that they're going to be sending Brett down on maybe the first or second pitch, simply because despite the really good throw by the catcher, Jaron O'Brien, on the last steal, the timing was just too slow between the pitcher and the catcher. Generally speaking, a pitcher's got to have a time of going to the plate in about 1.3 seconds, and the catcher, his time to second base is, if he's 2.4 and 1.3, that's, with a good throw, that'll stop a steal. But if I venture to say that they're probably, the total on that, 2.4 is 3.7, they're probably closer to 4.0 seconds, which should be an easy stolen base. Ball's up high. And if I could multitask here, I would time the pitcher and the catcher and give the viewing audience a little better understanding of what I'm talking about, but I cannot multitask. I'm having all the trouble I can talking into the microphone and using my pen. So that's a foul ball hit out of play to the right side. And again, Deshaun Anderson is the batter. Deshaun popped up to the pitcher, his first at bat. Pitcher made a nice play, taking it away from the catcher. There it goes on the steal. And what an opportune time to steal on the breaking ball, which makes it even easier. That's a stolen base waiting to happen. So we got one out. We got a 2-1 count on Deshaun. High strike. He takes a little timeout. He wants to go down and check with his coach. Check to see what signals, maybe some advice Coach Zukowski can give him. I see him showing him how, basically I think what he was telling him is that on that high strike that he's been chasing, he has to swing that, tomahawk the ball a little bit better. Otherwise, he's going to end up hitting another high infield pop-up. There's that curveball up and away. We got a 2-2 count with one out. Time called by home plate umpire Mike Sullivan. Actually, I think Deshaun called it, and umpire proceeded to call time on him. And here's a well-stroked ball right to the shortstop, and not able to come up with it. And he actually did tomahawk that ball somewhat, and that's the reason why you saw the ball hit down on the ground. But, he's just trying to correct that, getting under that high fastball strike. Okay, again, we got one out. Runners on first and second. Now batting, Aiden Dow. Aiden, in his last at-bat, blasted one to the warning track, got himself a triple, and knocked in 2 runs, and then he ultimately later on scored. High, ball 1, 1-1 count, 1-1. Ball was hit solidly, went right back to the pitcher. Lucas Sargent, who wisely just threw the ball to first. He want to get himself an out, and they now have 2 outs. But runners did advance on that, and so they're now in on second and third base. Breaking ball, and that hit Brendan Landon. Landon with a hit batsman, and he does it the right way, which I love. He just turns away from the ball, and the umpire can't accuse him for not getting out of the way of the pitch. And that's the proper way to take a hit, be a hit batsman. Don't turn into it, turn away from it, and let the ball hit you. I love that kind of mentality as a hitter. I was never fond of my batters jumping out of the way of an inside pitch. It never impressed me. And consequently, I'll say this: there were some years we had as many as 20, 27 hit batters in one season, which is, with a 20-game schedule, you're talking, that's a lot. And then with a hit batter, you can steal second, score in a single. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do when you get on base. We now got a 1-2 count and 2 outs. And Jared DeFilippo is now batting. High breaking ball again. Lucas, with his breaking ball, has been up high all day. He's got to get that thing down. Fastball right there. Uh-oh. 1 run in. 2 runs in. 3 runs in. Okay, and this is what happens in high school baseball. When you put the ball in play and make something happen, you're going to score runs. And we got 3 guys scoring that time. Danielle Ortiz now batting for the Classical, number 21, playing second base. He's got a nice jump and a steal. Oh. Great jump by Jared DeFilippo at second base. He had third base stolen without question. So we got a 1-2 count now on Danielle with 2 outs. Seven runs are across the plate now for the Classical Rams. DeFilippo drawing some attention down there, and that's the second pickoff attempt in a row, and he managed to get a wild throw, advancing to third base. Advancing to third base on that. Way out in front of that, way out in front. Hit it off the very end of the bat. It was like a pool cue shot. Willie Moscone. Breaking ball down low, and you can see where Danielle looked like he wanted to chase that one, and that's where he wants to be on the curveball. He wants to keep that thing down low. We get 2-2 count. That pitch is down outside. It's a 3-2 count with 2 outs. Nice pitch. That was a nice fastball, and Danielle took advantage of it and ripped a gap between third and short. for a single, knocking in a run. He got himself an RBI on that one. And again, another attempted pickoff by Lucas Sargent down there. That's probably about his 6th or 7th pickoff attempt now. Breaking ball up. That one's a called strike right at the letters. And we got Ronald Torres batting. He's the designated hitter, hitting for Kyle Finnegan. Hard ground ball. Nice play by the third baseman. He got that on the offbeat, what we call an offbeat hop. Third baseman being Josh Frost. And that was a tough play, and he made a perfect throw over there. So that's it. That's how we get out of this inning. And my man is looking at me. I'm going to take a break. Good. Thanks. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, here we are back at Fraser Field. Now batting for Somerville is Sam Tadonis. He's playing center field. And the last at bat, Sam flied out to right field. So here we are in the top of the third inning. Classical's got a commanding lead of 8-0. And Kyle Finnegan looks like he is right in charge. He threw a nice breaking ball down low and away, and he swung at it futilely. Nico did a nice job blocking it, and we got an easy out. And, you know, this is what I was saying. I can remember one year I had an outstanding catcher like Nico, and, you know, I had a kid that could throw a good deuce, and I wanted him to make sure on that 2-strike count to have it break so that it would be in the dirt. And, of course, when you have a good catcher behind the dish, you can do that, and you'd be surprised how many kids chase that pitch in high school. Especially with 2 strikes, they chase it big time. So you block the ball, pick it up, throw to first, and get them out. Oh, we got another bit of consternation, as we call it, with umpire Mike Sullivan saying something into the Somerville dugout. And we now have a 1-1 count. And again, knowing both umpires, Jimmy McKeever on the bases and Mike Sullivan behind the plate, they enforce the rules and they don't tolerate any type of unsportsmanlike behavior by the players nor the coaches. Fastball high and out of the zone. We get a 2-1 count with 1 out. Looks good from here. And batting for Somerville, as I indicated in the first inning, is Dylan, and his last name is scratched here, so we can't really tell what it is, but Dylan plays first base, and he got a single his first at bat, and now he follows that up with a walk, a ball 4. So we get Dylan on first base. Now batting, Jaron O'Brien hits a hard ground ball to short. And they call, wow, okay. Nice double play. That was a 6-4-3 DP. Up, we got a little something going on down there in the dugout area. I hear umpire Mike Sullivan lambasting the Somerville team. Oh, I believe it's a fan. I think it's a parent. And it looks to me like the parent has got a few words to say to the umpire. And by the way, there's only, let me see, there's only two Somerville parents there. So they're a little bit outnumbered. Oh, wait a minute, I take it back. No, they got a few others up there. But nonetheless, one of the fans has given the umpire quite a bit of razzing. And I think Mike Sullivan is coming over to the classical. He's looking up here. He's laughing. I gave him the ejection symbol. I don't think it'll be. I don't know. To be honest, I guess he could throw him out, and if he refuses to leave, he can call it a forfeit. And then it puts the responsibility on the opposing coach to get his fan out of the ballpark for fear of forfeiting the game. But at this point, I would say Classical has a commanding 8-0 lead, and they look to me like they're in good shape. And by the way, the Somerville last game had to be a pretty exciting game, 9-8 victory over Revere, and it was on a walk-off hit to win the game. So that's anytime you can get a walk-off, it's exciting for the team, it's exciting for the player that got the hit, and it's exciting for the kid that scores the run. So it's a great way to end the game. Okay, here we are back at Fraser, and now leading off for the Classical Rams, Kyle Durant. Kyle tomahawked that pitch real good, hit a hard ground ball to second base, and we score that at 4-3. The ball was hit right on the wood, right on the sweet spot of the bat. He hit the ball good. Up now, Nico Galizzi, who's in his first two at-bats. He's got a walk. He stole a base, scored a run, and hit a high fly ball to center field. He might be able to beat that out. No, the shortstop made a heck of a nice play. And the first baseman also made a nice play hanging on to the bag. That was Josh Santos at short as well as Dylan at first. So it was a good play all around by both defensive players. Brett Buckland now batting the center fielder for Lynn Classical. And that's a high fastball out of the zone. We get 2 outs. And we're into the bottom of the third inning. That's a pitch right down the middle, and Brett just stroked it. Line drive single to right center field. Well hit ball, and a good swing. He took a good swing on that pitch, and it was a good pitch to hit. Okay, we got Deshaun Anderson, third baseman. Deshaun has popped up to the pitcher, and he reached on an error by the shortstop, and he also scored a run. And that was after he went down and conferred with Coach Zukowski for a little bit of advice on the 2-strike count. And I think Coach was telling him to kind of tomahawk that high strike, which he did, and he hit himself a hard ground ball, a shot, and got on base. Ultimately scored a run. So we got 2 outs, 2-0 count. And again, I'm not sure if the steal will be on at this juncture of the game with an 8-0 lead, but I think Classical can pretty much get second when they want. So Anderson now, again in the batter's box with a 2-0 count. There's that pitch that you can see him realizing that that's that high strike again that he's just having a little trouble with. So he's took a couple of like mental swings, and he's going to try to tomahawk this now. Of course, it's 3-1, so again, nice hitter's count. Ball 4 and wild pitch. They might be able to take 2 on that, which they are. No. Johnny, what?
Just critiquing. I'm scared.
You can take over for me. You know, I'm sitting up here in my own little world, and then all of a sudden my boss comes by checking up on me, Mr. John Hoffman, and you know, I hope I get good ratings tonight, John. I get. Okay, we got now batting for Classical Rams, Aiden Dow. Aiden, who got a triple in his first at bat, kind of knocked in 2 runs, and he hit a hard ground ball to the pitcher for an out. And Aiden not only is a fine high school pitcher, but he's also a good-looking left-handed hitter. Whoa. Hard, sharp ground ball down through the first base coach's box, and the first base coach attempted to bare hand that, which probably not advisable, especially if he's a left-handed pitcher. Another one down there. And we got a 2-strike, 0-2 count with 2 outs. Aiden definitely pulling that ball a little bit right now. I think he's going to want to try to go up the middle. Oh, Jesus. Oop. That was an attempted pickoff with the runner diving back to the base, and the throw looked from here like it hit him in the face. And I think umpire Jimmy McKeever's indicating that he's checked on him, and I don't know if he's. Yep, there's another hard ground ball hit up the middle. He's going to score. 1 run scores. So Aiden gets himself another single with an RBI. Now we got runners on first and third. Deshaun on third, Aiden on first, with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hitting for the Rams, Brendan Lannon, who's the left fielder. Brendan has a single with 1 RBI, and he got a hit batter, as well as scored 2 runs today. So he's having himself a nice, healthy game as well. Inside breaking ball, it counts 1 and 2. Runners on the corners, 2 out. Tomahawk, a little underhand flip. Oh, nice scoop by the first baseman. It looked to me like he could have made an underhand flip to second. It might have been a little easier. But so, at the end of 3 complete innings, we have Classical Rams with 9 runs. They got, in that past inning, they got 2 hits. They had 1 walked batter, and again, no strikeouts to show on the board. Let's get out from. I don't know if he's trying to intentionally get hit. I don't know.
That was like today. The umpire was trying to run a clinic with St. Mary's pitchers. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, we all set, AJ? Okay, thank you. Sorry I missed that first batter as a ground ball at second base. Oh, didn't pull the ball out of the dirt that time, or the turf. Let me get myself squared away here. I'm sorry I'm starting a little late. Yeah, that was Josh Santos throwing, hitting to second base. And that was a bad throw into the dirt, turf. So Somerville now has a runner on first. There's another attempted pickoff by Kyle Finnegan. He's got a good move for a right-hander. He throws the ball over there very quickly and not any wasted motion. Batting for the Somerville team is Manny Diaz, playing left fielder in the game. And Manny, his first at bat, and both times he's ground out to second base. So it looks like a right side hitter, maybe because he swings a little bit late. But if you're placing your players defensively, you'd probably, I would think, maybe overshift a little bit to that side. Runners going with an 8-0 nice throw by Nico, and they get the stolen base. Kind of a unconventional move, being down eight runs, and you got a good catcher behind the plate, Nico Galizzi. And I'm sorry I didn't really watch the pitcher's move to see if he was slow to the plate, but for the most part, he's been pretty quick to the plate. So this young man at second base must have real good wheels, Josh Santos. And again, being the shortstop, he probably has real good speed. But stealing when you're behind 8 runs is not advisable. We got a little timeout here. It looks like Josh got turf burn or whatever on that head first slide into second base. And play is now going to be resumed. We got, again, Manny Diaz, left fielder, who is up for the Somerville team, and that's ball 4. So we got a little bit of a situation here, first and second. It's kind of one of the few times that Kyle has had a little bit of a base runners on, or he's had a little bit of a problem, and Classical seems to have continued to bail him out. And here we go. He comes in with a knee-high fastball with strike 1. Strike. Nice line drive hit to right field, and that's going to score a run. It looks like it may score a run. No, it isn't. Good job by the third base coach, Tim Dunphy, who held a runner up because that was a perfect throw by right fielder Kyle Durant to his cutoff man, and I think he may have been out on that. So Manny gets himself a base hit. So we got bases loaded. We got a 1-out situation. And now batting for Somerville is Jaron O'Brien, who, as I mentioned previously, has done a nice job behind the dish for Somerville, saving them a few runs. That's a strike called. It's a swing and a miss, strike 2. 1 down. Again, an opportunity here. Base hit could bring in 1 or 2 runs for Somerville. They're going to need a little more than that, however. Breaking ball, nice pitch by Kyle Finnegan as he strikes out Jaron O'Brien. That's the second out here in the inning. Now batting Patrick Barton, right fielder for Somerville. Patrick struck out his last at bat, and again he's got an opportunity here with bases loaded to bring in a few runs for his team. A little chopper to the mound. Kyle picks it up, throws to first, easy out, and they get out of trouble on that. So, on the recap, we have no runs for Somerville. We got one hit in that inning. We had one strikeout. And going into the bottom of the fourth inning, we have a 9-0 score. 9-0 is the score. She come out and she had something to say, you know, and it was like,
They're doing that every day.
and you know, she had something and they just said, okay, back here at Frazier Field, in the bottom of the fourth inning, with the Lynn Classical Rams leading 9-0. Batting for the Rams now, Jared DeFilippo. Jared has been up twice today. He's walked, he scored a run, and now he's going to attempt to lead. Okay, we have a 2-2 count now on Jared DeFilippo, and I think he would like to lead off and get himself on base, get something started, and the possibility of the mercy rule here, if they get a Classical can get a couple more runs on the board. And that's a fly ball out to center fielder, who's had a few fly ball outs today. Danielle Ortiz now batting for the Rams. Fair ball. He hits it right down the line. Another chalker. Pretty good wheels. He's going in at second base and a stand-up double. And he's going to take, on the overthrow, he's taking the extra base. Good base running. I take that back. Bad base running. He got called out, and the shortstop made a perfect throw, a pick and fire move from on the bobble ball, and he threw a perfect knee-high strike and got him out. Anywhere else, and he would have been safe on that. Okay, you got Ronald Torres now batting. He's the designated hitter, as we mentioned, for Kyle Finnegan. And Ronald, first time up, has got himself a single. He got an RBI, and he hit a hard ground ball, a tough ground ball to third base, where the third baseman made a nice play on an in-between hop and got him at first. That could have very well been an error. And there's the first strikeout for Classical Rams, or for the Josh Lucas Sargent, the pitcher of Somerville. So they got one. They finally got a strikeout. And Classical, that's the first inning. They didn't put any runs up on the board. There was 3 up and 3 down. Yet they got a double by Danielle Ortiz, and Danielle on the relay in from left field to the shortstop. It was a short hopper, and he bobbled it, and it fell to the ground. He alertly continued on to third base, and to Josh Santos' credit, the shortstop of Somerville, he made a perfect throw to third and got him out on a head-first slide into third base. So we're in the top of the fifth inning now. Classical Rams 9, Somerville 0. Okay, we're leading off in the top of the fifth inning with Somerville at bat, and Somerville's leadoff hitter, Sam Tadonis, has led the inning off with a sharp single to center field. Now batting first baseman, Dylan. Little timeout here on the field as an errant throw from the bullpen area comes down. Umpire Mike Sullivan calling timeout. Sam Tadonis steps in, Dylan steps into the batter's box, and he has a single and a walk to his credit in his 2 at-bats today, so he's kind of perfect on the day. Breaking ball, and he was reaching for that pitch, and that is a strikeout for Kyle. That's Kyle's 5th strikeout of the game. And we now have Lucas Sargent coming up. Lucas is the pitcher, starting pitcher, and he is also still into the game. Finnegan having a kind of he's settled down, and he's out there just throwing, having a good time and just throwing, letting his team make the plays behind him. As I indicated earlier, he has 5 strikeouts to his credit, and he's only walked 1 batter, so he's pitching himself a real fine game. Three and 0 at this point. I think I may have jinxed him when I mentioned that he only has 1 walk. Hopefully I didn't. Well, we'll see. It's a 3-0 count right now on the hitter. Nice pitch. Nico attempts to pick off at first, and the runner gets back safely. We get a 3-1 count. Dylan now batting shortstop Josh Santos. He lines one to left center field. Well hit ball. And it looks like we're going to score 2 runs at least on this. And he's going into third base with a stand-up triple. Josh Santos, triple with 2 RBIs. Nice job by him. One out situation. Josh Santos at third base. And again, as I repeat, he's having a heck of a game also. He's 2 for 3 with a stolen base, 2 RBIs. Nice play out there. Nice play out there at second by Brendan Lannon. They allow the run to score, but they get the out to first, which is of primary importance at this point. Now batting second baseman Jake McDonald. Takes that first cut at the ball and fouls one off into the bleachers, which, by the way, the netting is still in disrepair. And a section of the seating behind home plate is still cordoned off due to the unsafe conditions of the cantilever roof here at Fraser Field. And I've been telling people, if I remember from my childhood days, that Fraser Field is the owner or holder, there's a ground ball, a shot, out at first, of the national record for the largest cantilever cement roof stadium in the United States. And I believe it's still a record. There's no other cement stadiums of this type. Thank you. Okay, all set. And we now have a pitching change with Somerville with Billy Adelino pitching for Somerville now. And his very first pitch, he throws it in there, and what an introduction. His very first pitch he threw was a solid base hit, line drive by Kyle Durant to right field. And one pitch delivery and one pitch hit. Now up, you got Nico Galizzi, and the ball he's going down. Once again, a nice throw. Good throw by the catcher. And it was perfect throw right on the bag, and they got Kyle's on the steal. On the steal attempt, I should say. Excellent throw by Jaron. And here's another chopper. So Adelino, on his very first pitch, gives up a hit. And on his very next pitch, he eliminates the base runner on a perfect throw by Jaron O'Brien, the fine catcher from Somerville. One and two count here with one out in the bottom of the fifth inning. Hard hit ball, a shortstop. Santos once again hit the heel of his glove, and we're going to have to score that an error for him. And again, that's what his job is Nico getting on base and try to make something happen. Even though there's one out, being the leadoff hitter with a little speed, I would expect that maybe where Coach sent the last runner down, he'll send Nico down as well. Looking to get, after Somerville scored the 3 runs last inning, only with a 6-run lead, probably thinks he might have to open it up just a little bit. That's high, that's ball 2. So we get a 2-0 count to Brett Buckland. Brett reached on an error. He got a walk, stole a base, and single. He scored 3 runs. That's a high foul ball. Two and one count, 1 out. All right, we got a timeout call here. I don't know. Jim McKeever, base umpire, is instructing Adelino. They call time in. They're ready to go. It's another high strike. Foul ball, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and we got 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Again, Classical ahead 9-3 in this ball game. Here he goes. It's a hit and run was on. There's an error, and it looks like the Classical's going to score a run on this, on the overthrow. Actually, that's an error on the first baseman. I would score that an E3. And Nico will score. He goes down to second base. Again, one out. Deshaun Anderson now up. He's 0 for 2 today. He flied out. The pitcher reached an error and he got a walk. I know he got a hit in his. I believe he got one hit in the last game against Salem. No, he got 2 hits. He got 2 RBIs in that last game against Salem. Yes, Salem. That's who they got beat by. 11-10. Okay, he stays off that pitch. That pitch has been giving him a little bit of trouble today. That's a high borderline strike, and he hasn't had much luck with it. Now, one time he did tomahawk the ball and he hit the ball fairly hard. So let's see what happens here. That pitch right there. Nice play by the second baseman. Picks it up, throws to first. So we got a ground out by Anderson. 2 outs in the inning now. Aiden Dow now batting again from the left side, left-handed hitter. That's a nice line drive foul. He's got a real good swing. Excuse me. And he pushed that ball foul. It took it right down the right field line. So we got a 0-1 count. We got 2 outs. We got 1 run in. And now he goes the opposite way. Hits a beautiful line drive. Oh, to the left fielder, who nonchalantly tried to one-hand the ball, and it skipped off the top of his glove. So that's an E7 for sure. That ball was hit well. The ball was hit real good. Right at him. He didn't even have to move. He just raised his glove. And I got to be honest, I've seen an awful lot of one-handed play in the outfield this year. I've went to about maybe 5 or 6 games. I'm not a big fan of outfielders one-handing the ball. I think the old adage when we were kids playing was, there's a fair ball down the left field line by number 4, Brendan Landon. Brendan gets a stand-up double and an RBI. Again, taking that first pitch and just tomahawking it. But I mentioned seeing too many outfielders one-hand the ball nonchalantly. And I don't know where they get that. I don't know if they get that from watching TV or what. But, we were always brought up on the premise of two-handing the ball. And the other reason you want 2 hands is that your throwing hand is adjacent to the pocket of the glove, which helps you get rid of the ball a little bit quicker as opposed to bringing it up. And as we tell our players, every 1/10 of a second is 3 feet to the base runner. Every 1/10 of a second delay in your release of the ball is 3 feet. Now batting Jared DeFilippo. Jared's got a 2-strike count on him with 2 outs. He has a walk, reached on an error, and he flew out to center field. He's got an opportunity for a ribby here. There's a chopper down the third base line. Adolino goes from the set position, runner on second base, throws a high. Another well-hit tomahawk ball by Jared DeFilippo. Throw comes in. Way too late. We'll give him a double on that, even though he advanced on the throw. He got himself a ribby. So that's now 4 runs in this inning, which gives Classical 13 runs, Somerville 3. There's a runner on second, 2 outs. It's a high pop-up hit. This could be trouble. And Josh Santos takes it, puts it away for the 3rd out. So in that inning, we come up with 4 runs for Classical. Classical got themselves 3 hits. They benefited from 3 errors in that inning, and no walk batters and certainly no strikeouts. So here we are going into the top of the 6th inning with a 13-3 lead on the Classical Rams. Okay, here we are, and I think I should mention that we have that crack camera crew here from local cable TV doing another fine job for the athletes of the Lynn Public Schools, in particular this game, Lynn Classical. Now batting up there at the plate, Josh Frost, who's the 3rd baseman. And again, it's a foul ball. Hit down the right field line. We got a count now, 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, and we have a new pitcher on the mound. And according to the roster that Coach Sikowski has given me, number 18 is out there on the mound, and that's number 18 is a junior, Tim Nerick. So he walks his first batter. Which was Josh Frost, and now he's pitching to catcher Jaron O'Brien, who's been pretty busy behind the dish today. So on the mound is Tim Nerick, class of 2020. Nice ground ball hit to Tim. Tim picks it up, throws a first base, gets the force at first. So we got a runner now on second base, 1 out. Coach Sikowski, I'm sure, is with a 10-run lead, is giving a little bit of his pitching staff an opportunity to get a couple of innings in, or in this case, it might even be a bullpen, because the way these games have been backed up with rain, Classical, I'm not sure if they're playing tomorrow or not, but I know all the teams are backed up with games. So this could very well just serve to be an opportunity for Tim to get some game experience, but more importantly, as I said, it could be his bullpen for tomorrow or Friday's game. And he's out there throwing strikes right now, just fastballs down the middle. He's got a nice 10-run lead. He doesn't have to worry about being too much finesse. Just throw the ball out there, let the batters hit. And speaking of the batters, I believe we have a pinch hitter, left-handed hitter, and there's only 2 other players left. And that was Garrity, who struck out. And pinch hitting for Barton. And now batting, and nice block by Nico behind the dish in a 2-out situation. We got leadoff hitter Sam Tadonis, who is 1 for 3, scoring a run, striking out. Whoop, jumps out of the way of that one. It hit him. Dead ball. So we have runners on first and second. The infield is playing back deep, not really holding anybody on with a 10-run lead, and I do not suspect that they would attempt a double steal at this point in the game. So batting is Dylan, the first baseman. Dylan has himself a 1 for 3 so far today. 1 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout. Got an opportunity here to put another run on the board with a base hit. And he hits one to shortstop, on the hand flip to second. They get a nice easy out there. Sorry, we missed that at bat, folks. I was just talking with the legendary John Hoffman, and that was Ronald Perez grounding out. Now batting for the Glasgow Rams is Tim Nerrick. Tim Nerrick, who's '18 or 16. Wait a second. That's Kyle. I'm sorry. That's Kyle Durant was batting, and that's Kyle's second hit of the day. He lined out. He had a line shot back to the pitcher in the very first inning. The pitcher made a very nice catch. So we got 1 out. Runner on first. And now batting, according to the schedule here, is Patrick Whalen, and he would be batting in Galizzi's spot. And again, with free substitution, he could just be hitting with Galizzi going back into the game as the catcher. Well, we'll wait to have to see that. There's a chopper down to the pitcher who wisely picks it up, throws to first. They get the out, and Whalen goes 1-3. And now up, another pinch hitter here with the lights, because he tracked that ball down real good. He went back on the ball real good or well, and then reached up with his glove, similar to this last ball hit out to him, and it just hit off the heel of his glove. So I think he might be having a little bit of trouble with the lights here. Now batting is Deshaun Anderson. And Deshaun is 0 for 3 on today with 1 walk and 1 run scored. Adelini throws to the plate. Another tomahawk ball hit to the shortstop, Santos, who tried to backhand the ball to no avail. That was probably not a wise choice to backhand that. He could have got around that, I think, a little bit. And maybe had an opportunity to make a play at first, but it was in the hole. And being a scorer that's not very generous, I am going to give a hit on that, because I don't think Santos would have thrown him out from there. Especially the way he backhanded that ball. And then he would have to turn right himself and then make a long throw to first base. I don't think he would have got him. Okay, there's a breaking ball up to Aiden Dow, who's swung the bat real good today. He got 2 for 4, but he's hit some real good line drives foul, and he's got himself a nice stroke. He hit a ball to left field that was misplayed. It was a rope that, again, having trouble with the lights out there. So he's swinging the bat well today. They were, I would consider them quality at bats, every one of his at bats, despite only having 2 hits. Hot hit ground at first. It could be up. It's Bob. Oh, we got an error down there at first. First baseman could not come up with the ball. That was our boy Dylan down there at first. He fielded it, dropped it, picked it, dropped it. And then I'm not really even sure if there was anyone covering first. So we've got bases loaded at this point. And batting for the for the Rams is Brandon Lannon. Underhand flip. No, he decides to come. It looked like he could have had an underhand flip Santos to second, and once again he chose to go to first. He threw a bullet over there, but it was low and in the dirt, and that allowed a couple of runs to score. Runners on second and third. We got a 2-out situation and one strike on Jared DeFilippo. There's a swing and a chopper down the third base line, foul, and we get it into play real quick. So we got runners on second and third, 2 out, and a 2-strike situation. And relief pitcher Adelino is into the game. Throws himself a nice strike. Ball hit the straightaway center field, and the center fielder drifted back on that, and another one-handed catch. And he did catch that one. Okay, we're in the top of the 7th inning here now, with Glasgow having a firm grasp on the lead with a 16-3 lead, I believe, and this game certainly looks well in hand. And on the mound, I'm not sure if I may have to refer to my my boss here. Is that on the mound? Is that number 18? Is that Tim Nerrick? John, can you see the number?
For a minute I thought it was 10, but it's not.
No, 10 is Deshaun Anderson.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Josh Santos now batting for Somerville, and Josh has had himself a good game, going 2 for 3 with a couple of RBIs and scoring a run. Okay, we get a 1-out situation here, and batting Manny Diaz. Nice line drive hit, hard hit ball to the second baseman, scoops it up, throws a bullet over to first. And that That's it. Okay, here we are in the wrap-up situation, and not being able once again to multitask. Somerville ended up with 3 runs. They had themselves 7 hits. They accumulated 3 walks on a hit batsman, and they went down 6 times on strikeouts. And on the classical side, you're gonna have to bear with me on this one because they didn't do the last inning. Classical had 16 runs, 12 hits, 4 walked batters, and to their credit, the Classical Rams only had 1 strikeout on the day. So they basically put the ball in play most of the game, and put Somerville in a situation where they had to come up with the plays. They had a few fly balls lost in the lights in the outfield, and Somerville overall did make a number of errors, which allowed Classical to get many of their runs. So with that, I want to wish everybody a good night, a good evening. Classical's final score 16, Somerville 3. Thank you.